Well. Welcome back to the LockerTalk, where you hear about NFL stars of tomorrow. I'm your host, Barry Barnes, founder and CEO of Locker-Report.com. And you guys always can follow me on any one of my social handles on Twitter at Locker_reports, Instagram, LockerReport100, all small caps, Facebook, LockerReport.com, and also check out LockerTalk Podcast on Facebook. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel on YouTube, LockerTalk Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel today. And then, of course, on Fridays, you guys can hear me on the Best News Radio Network at 9 a.m. All right. Okay, folks, I hope everyone is having themselves a great day. I hope everyone is enjoying this NFL season. But we cannot, at least on this show, cannot go through the season without talking about officiating. Yes, talking about the NFL caretakers of the NFL. The men and women that don the black and stripes for the game to try to keep everything in bounds. Now, I don't have on the official colors, but it is stripes. So it's the first thing that comes to your mind. If you see me wearing stripes, I'm going to talk about those officials and talk about what they have done so far this season. Talking about what they have done on the field, which has made some great on-the-field calls right on the field. Now, no assistance from instant replay. This is live speed, bang, bang. These guys need to get credit for what they do on the field because, hey, not everyone can do what they can do in the field. And to be able to make the right calls in that type of speed, in that environment, man, I tell you, this is why these guys are the best at what they do. So we're going to jump right into it. Some fun stuff to talk about today when it regards to the NFL. We're talking about the NFL officiating. Now, here we go. Week 8. Now, I know that we're in week 15, but a lot of things has happened. A lot of the things I have to cover on the show. However, definitely want to stick out some of the good plays they have made so far during the season. Now, in week 8, when the Los Angeles Chargers had faced the Denver Broncos, that was a very good game. You know, it's nothing like seeing a walk-off touchdown in the NFL. We don't see too many of those, but when we do see them, it's amazing. But what else is also great to see when we see a good walk-off call that was made on the field. And I'm going to talk about this particular game here, and I'm going to set the stage. Okay, no time left on the clock. The Broncos was facing first and goal for the Chargers, 1 yard line. Yes, 1 yard line. Quarterback for the Broncos, Drew Lock, received the ball for shotgun formation. He faked the handoff to Melvin Gordon, and that's when he ran play action towards his right. After he was being pressured, that's when we recognized that he had rifled a pass to rookie wide receiver J.K. Hamlin. And he actually caught the pass while he was falling backwards out of the end zone. Now, Hamlin had secured the pass and jumped with excitement as he got off the ground. You can see he was excited knowing that he caught the pass. Now, initially, for Carl Sheffer's group, fantastic referee and his crew, originally it was signaled incomplete by field judge Gary Catarello. And then, all of a sudden, line judge Tom Perezzo, he has signaled a touchdown. Now, when we have situations like this, where I pointed this out, sometimes one referee may see, one official may see one thing, another official do not see another thing. So yes, they both put up two different signals. However, but you see here how they both came together to discuss, had a quick discussion of what they seen, and that's when they went in reverse and they both agreed and signaled a touchdown. Now, when we look at the highlight, we see that when he rifled that ball to Hamlin, we'll notice that he quickly secured the ball while he was drifting backwards in the air. When he came down, Hamlet's backside landed slightly inbounds. That's why the play was ruled ultimately a touchdown, while both officials came together to discuss what they saw in the field. So this was a great job that Camparello and Parezzo was able to do, to come together, to put heads together, have a great conversation, and that's when they ruled the right call on the field as a touchdown. Good teamwork for you two guys for what y'all was able to do on the field to keep this great caretaking thing on going with great on-field calls. Now, week 10, the Philadelphia Eagles faced the New York Giants. Another decent game. Heck, I'm always saying about NFL games, they're always good because he's the best in the world doing it. Now, we're going to talk about this as keeping your eyes on the prize. In the third quarter, 12 minutes, 41 seconds remaining. The Eagles faced first and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz received the ball from shotgun formation, and then he gave an inside handoff to running back Boston Scott. Boston Scott took the ball, bounced to the outside off the left on his edge, and boom, right up the field. And then as he was sprinting down the field, the only defender that was there was Giants defensive back Logan Ryan, and he was trailing him. And also the person that was trailing him was field judge Jeff Lambeth. He was trailing him as well. And so when Ryan was trailing him, Scott's legs, when you looked at it from, if you was looking at it with a blur, it would appear that he had stepped out. But he kept on running, stayed in bounds, and just kept trucking into the field till he got to the end zone. Now, Lambeth of Clay Martin's crew, referee Clay Martin's crew, when he was trailing him, it was like he took a little dip in the fountain of youth, because he was actually keeping up with Boston for a little bit there. And so as he was trailing him, he had recognized and signaled a touchdown. Now the play went in automatic review, and when we see here with the instant replay, when Ryan was with Scott, now when we look at Scott's right leg, his right leg nearly was almost tripped up, actually was almost tripped up by Logan Ryan, but he kept his balance. Scott slightly landed, hit the tips of his toe on his right foot inbounds inside the Giants' 14-yard line, and with a slight patch right there, patch of green between his foot and out of the bounds line. With following that step, Scott landed on the tip of his left toes inbounds, and then from there he coasted into the end zone. After the play was reviewed, it was upheld. Great job of Jeff making the right on-field call, keeping up with Boston, nailing the right thing in live speed. That's what I'm talking about, live speed calls in the NFL. It is fantastic. With Week 10 again, Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing the Carolina Panthers. Now, this was one of those things that you want to say, a multitasking type situation in how this officiating call was made on the field. Now, the Panthers was facing second and goal from the Bucs' 3-yard line. With 11:31 left in regulation, Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater received the ball from shotgun formation. Teddy was hopping around in the pocket trying to find what he's going to do, keeping his eyes in the end zone. Then he recognized the pocket had collapsed, and so that's when Teddy Bridgewater relied on his legs. After taking a couple of hits, he found himself powering himself to get into the end zone. Now, after sprinting away from some would-be tacklers, that's when you see here when Bridgewater had extended the ball into the end zone with his right hand. Now, both the referee, Land Clark, and Empire, Allen Inc. came over to meet in the group of the players who were signaling a touchdown. The players were signaling the touchdown. Then shortly after that, that's when we saw down judge Michael Carr ran over to confirm the touchdown. Now, automatic booth replay. Now, the replay had revealed that after Bridgewater had spurred away from the Bucs defenders, he was falling towards the ground. Nevertheless, while extending the ball across the goal line, Teddy held himself up with his left hand, with his knees slightly touching the turf. However, the ball was already across the goal line, breaking the plane. So the ball was already on breaking the plane when his knee hit the ground. As he had kept himself up with his left hand, enough time to get the ball across the plane. Carl witnessed that Bridgewater positioned his body versus the ball and recognized the play as a touchdown. The call on the field was upheld. Great instinct by Bridgewater, but a solid awareness by Carr to recognize the two areas, with knee and with the ball at the same time. That's what we call multitasking. Great job on Carr to recognize that. Now, Week 11, Minnesota Vikings going against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is one of those plays that was great because one of the NFL Regional Combine players actually was the one that made this play happen. Now, in the third quarter, 5 minutes, 56 seconds left on the clock. The Vikings were on the Cowboys' 2-yard line, facing third and goal. Quarterback Kirk Cousins received the ball from under center, running formation. That's when we saw Cousins get the ball, quickly look to his left, and then toss the fade to the post to wide receiver Adam Thielen at the right post of the Cowboys' end zone, with cornerback Anthony Brown trailing him. Now, line judge Jeff Seaman from Bill Veronetti's group threw a flag, while field judge David Melo made the ruling on the field as a touchdown. Although the questionable touchdowns are always automatically reviewed, this one was not as simple. This was something that Melo had nailed because the way how this play went. Now, when the ball was in flight, Dillon extended his right hand for the pass. And as he was trying to corral the ball with one hand, securing it, his right foot was slightly planted while he was dragging his left foot inbounds before falling out of bounds. During the process, Melo was actually backed up for just a little bit to make sure he followed and registered Dillon's entire execution thoroughly. After he recognized that, that's when we saw the flag from Seaman being thrown for holding. But the penalty was declined, as Belinelli had actually explained. So there was no surprise that the call on the field stood after further review, recognizing that Dillon had controlled the ball, recognized that he still had his feet in bounds with him dragging his left foot in there. So this was a fantastic call for Melo to be able to make this call on the field. Great job there. Now, Week 11 had a lot of great things. And then when you talk about Week 11, the most important thing that happened in that week, perhaps probably the most important thing that happened all year in the NFL, knowing that was the night, the first time in NFL history, where the officiating crew on a Monday night game was officiated by an all African American crew. Now, when it comes down to officiating in the NFL, equality is something that is definitely governed across the board everywhere. It's something that everyone strives for. But in this one, this was something else that may bring awareness to officiating for equality. Now, Burl Towers, he was the first African American official in the NFL in 1965. Johnny Greer became the first African American referee in 1988. Sarah Thomas is the first female official that was hired in the NFL in 2015. So equality across the board, men and women, folks. Things are starting to change within officiating, and this marked right here. And on Week 11, Monday Night Football game was the first time and all cast of African Americans officiating a Monday night game. That crew was lined up with referee Jerome Bogard, umpire Barry Anderson, down judge Julian Mapp, line judge Carl Johnson, side judge Dale Shaw, field judge Anthony Jeffers, and back judge Greg Steed. Now, this was not Jerome Bogard's original crew. Two officials that's with Jerome Bogard was not in this mix, and we're talking about line judge Rusty Baines and also back judge Brad Freeman. So in this case, for this special occasion, line judge Carl Johnson and back judge George Steed, they were the two that was added to this the monumental occasion for that evening. And so that was history that was made. Now, although the history was made, one thing that did not change: great officiating. This actually speaks of how great these guys are, because you have two members that's not a part of this whole group. And now when you're just like a football team, they all players are familiar with each other. But I like to use this term that our techs out there like to talk about. We talk about plug and play. And this was a situation where we had Johnson and then we had Greg joined right inside this situation here. Now, not to take away what these referees do, and that's make good on-field calls, and one was made in that evening. Now, in the fourth quarter, with 4 minutes left in regulation, Bucs quarterback Tom Brady received the ball from shotgun formation from the Rams' 13-yard line as they faced 1st and 10. So he stared down the middle of the field and quickly looked to his right and saw wide receiver Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin caught the pass in the flat, took the ball towards the end zone. Now, Rams defensive back Darius Williams went out to try to cut Goodwin from under before he went across the goal line, but Godwin dove over him for the touchdown. Now, field judge Dale Shaw was on top of the play, as well as line judge Carl Johnson. Shaw quickly checked to Johnson, and when he looked at Johnson, that's when he signaled the touchdown. Teamwork again. Now, plays going to get automatically reviewed, which all plays that have question marks going to get automatically reviewed. Replay detailed that when Godwin leaped off his right foot from the Rams' 4-yard line to avoid Williams. He extended his right arm with the ball towards the goal line. Before his left foot landed out of bounds, Godwin had the ball over the goal line. So Johnson followed the footing. Shaw followed the position of the ball. Great teamwork for both officials to officiate on this historical evening. These guys, I always got to say that these caretakers are the best at what they do. They show it week in and week out. There are a lot of highlights out there that always capture that goes on, but I'm just going to put out the ones that really had some significance. Thank you guys for tuning in to Locker Talk. Right here about NFL stars of tomorrow today. Today we talked about officiating, so we talked about great officiating that we have seen so far in the league. We have some more highlights to get to during the rest of the regular season that we will close out in a couple of weeks ahead, but we definitely want to acknowledge the caretakers, the NFL officials, for what they do on the field. Cannot discredit what these guys do. They are a part of the game as much as the players are. Make sure you guys always follow me on any one of my social handles on Twitter at Locker_Report, on Instagram, Lock Report 100, all small caps, on Facebook, LockerTalk.com, and the Locker Talk Podcast. And subscribe to this channel, folks. It's growing. Locker Talk Podcast on YouTube. And also, you can check me out on Fridays on the Bachelor News Radio Network. Everyone stay safe out there. Make sure you guys have your mask on because it's very important. We're almost there. I got mine on. You know, I wear mine all the time, so make sure you got it. I wear this bad boy out. I need to get another one real soon. Everyone stay blessed. Talk to you soon out there. Let's get it.